Prabhuji, you can share the screen now.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay. So we are seeing him again, so we will start. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति भक्तिविकास स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे भगवान् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे मुखम करति वाचालं गणगाति श्री गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय कृष्ण कृष्ण अभीशाय वदने लक्ष्मी यस्य शास्त्रे हृदय संवितम सच्चे योऽन्त परमेश्वरं जगन्नाथ सुतां संजीवयते प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं निज गुरु हरिवाण्या कृष्ण चित्तो विचितो देहानंद संसार पूजयति विकास Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our online reading session of the book The Mood and Mission of Srila Prabhupada by His Holiness Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj. Hope everybody is hearing my voice. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Am I
Prabhuji.
audible? So we are continuing to read from the book The Mood and Mission of Srila Prabhupada. We are in part 2. The chapter is Genuine Acharya, chapter number 5. And we are in the essay, not just another guru. So from the book, it is page number 145. Everybody can follow. It's 145. In the chat also, that we can see. Rupanand Prabhu, you can start reading today.
Pranam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Not just another guru. Swami Bhaktivedanta is not one divine medium among many. He is not simply another guru. He is the guru of our time. Reference 596. J. Frank Kenny citing disciples' outlook regarding Srila Prabhupada in Hari Shauri Das Transcendental Diaries, Volume 5, Appendix. Undoubtedly, there have been many exalted, worshipable personalities in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, yet it would be a mistake to consider that Srila Prabhupada was just one of many gurus teaching Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and that there is little distinction between him and any other Gaudiya teacher. Of course, all Vaishnava gurus initiate disciples, and many also establishes temples and write books. Yet, unprecedentedly, Srila Prabhupada initiated thousands of disciples, established worship of Sri Radha Krishna in temples around the world, and authored over 60 volumes of the authoritative books. Apart from disseminating Krishna consciousness widely, another feature of an influential Acharya is his ability to produce at least a few followers who take his mission to heart and continue to fight Maya with undaunted prowess. The legacy
prowess.
prowess. The legacy of a great Acharya continues generation after generation as his empowered disciplic descendants continue his lineage, not only in forms but also in spirit, by personifying his teachings and keeping them prominently alive in this world. By all these considerations, it would be clearly understood that Srila Prabhupada was not just another guru, as Jayadvaita Swami emphasized in the opening his 1995 Vyas Puja offering reproduced below. By three times making this statement, he continued, today we honor the representative of Srila Vyas. Srila Vyasadev has many representatives, and so we may think of Srila Prabhupada as one of them. And of course he is. Yet Srila Prabhupada stands distinguished in a class by himself. He is not merely a guru, our guru, one among many, just as the Bhagavatam is not just another book.
Wow.
Hare Krishna, not just another mantra, and Lord Krishna, not just another God. To study Srila Prabhupada is to study super excellence. Part of his super excellence is that he did act just as though another guru. He did things any guru should do, or at least aspire to. He set an example for us to follow. Harikesh Maharaj has written about this very nicely for the Vyas Puja of a previous year. Yet Srila Prabhupada also did the extraordinary and was extraordinary. And we need to keep his singularity in mind. Some people, it seems, suppose that any guru to be bona fide must come up to the same level or nearly the same as Srila Prabhupada, but that is neither necessary nor possible. It is not necessary because Srila Prabhupada far excelled the qualifications every bona fide guru must have. There may be many fragrant flowers, but among them there is extraordinary excellence in the champaka or the rose. There may be many birds, but among them special excellence in the peacock or the swan. Many stars, but among them special excellence in the moon. Among gurus, Srila Prabhupada shines with extraordinary brilliance. To expect that sort of brilliance from every guru is to expect the impossible and to lose sight of how extraordinary Srila Prabhupada is. Then again, if by virtue of serving as guru, one thinks one has become as good as Srila Prabhupada or nearly so, again one has lost one's vision. We have had our experience. The little mice who became tigers and cast hungry eyes on the yogi turned into little mice again. Srila Prabhupada stood in a class apart, uniquely blessed by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish Krishna consciousness all over the world. Anyone who wants to cover the same territory takes on the same task, but not follow in Srila Prabhupada's footsteps is an offender and a fool. And anyone who sincerely dedicates his life to Srila Prabhupada's service will always come out successful, overcoming even the most subtle and difficult obstacles. When Srila Prabhupada conveyed to us conclusions of the previous acharyas, he did so perfectly, preserving and transmitting the philosophy exactly as it is, neither watering anything down, nor covering anything over, nor leaving anything out. He gave us the essence of everything exactly as we ought to receive it. We therefore don't need to add anything, subtract anything, or change anything. We need only faithfully serve Srila Prabhupada's order and everything will be revealed. reference 597. See also nobody else. Theological contributions. A hallmark of particularly significant acharya is their theological contributions. Goswamis, Rupa, Raghunath, and Jeev, as also Narottam, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Baldev Vidya Bhushan, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur, are all considered pivotal in the development of the Gaudiya Parampara, largely because of their theological contributions. Although remarkable as a religious innovator, Srila Prabhupada's creativity was in his manner of delivering the message. He did not seek to contribute anything new to the corpus of Vaishnava Siddhant, and indeed prided himself on not doing so. Nevertheless, his theological contributions are immense, especially in his making available, comprehensible, and practicable to the Western people various concepts that had been so foreign to their psyche that his contemporaries could hardly imagine them to be communicable. Reference 598. A 1967 Montreal newspaper headlined a feature about the devotees. They claim that the Hindu god Krishna is the father of Jesus Christ and the inhabitants of the moon are invisible. Henry Doktrowski, Gold, Guns and God, Volume 1st, page number 206, Kindle edition. Beginning with the simple yet transformational understanding of the eternal nature of the soul, the theological concepts with which Srila Prabhupada enriched the West culminated in the epiphany that the highest truth is the supreme personality of Godhead, and his nature and his name is Krishna. He revealed to the theological
Prabhu, tell me the
reference,
reference.
reference 599. The prime contribution has been
This
highlighted by Tamal
this
Krishna.
prime. This prime. This prime contribution.
This prime contribution has been highly highlighted by Tamal Krishna Goswami in his A Living Theology of Krishna Bhakti, page 127. Srila Prabhupada's forceful promotion of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead was important in India also. See countering misconceptions prevalent among Hindus. He revealed to the theological crippled Western world the full science of God, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.20, and thereby introduced God in his full glory and sweetness. Outside of India, discourse about the nature of God had centered on his ontological position, stressing his omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience, and beneficence, with scant information regarding his personality. By presenting Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, clearly differentiating him from Abrahamic ideations concerning God, Srila Prabhupada introduced on a large scale a personalistic theism far beyond any conceived in the West. The theological personalism that Srila Prabhupada imparted was to so intimate and so elevated as to be unprecedented, as he himself observed. In the Western world outside India, they never heard of this idea that God can be approached personally. We can talk with him, we can live with him, we can play with him. These new ideas are, of course, novel to the Western world. 600 reference, lecture dated 22nd April 1974. Referring to Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada stated, "We are giving a unique contribution with this book, a book which tells of the activities of God. There is no other book that has been authoritatively presented to the Western world up till this time, which has given so high a contribution." Reference 601, letter dated 31st July 1969. This contribution was not only unprecedented but revolutionary. Srila Prabhupada taught the revolutionary idea that God becomes subordinate to his pure devotees. Krishna became the son of Mother Yashoda and was reprimanded by her when he stole her butter so that tears flowed from his eyes. The Christians pray, "O Lord, give us this day our daily bread." But Mother Yashoda was thinking that if Krishna did not eat, he would die. Krishna is the one supreme eternal that is maintaining all other eternals. But he became Arjuna's chariot driver. When Arjuna commanded, "Place my chariot between the two armies," he did so. Srila Prabhupada taught the revolutionary understanding that we can have a conjugal relationship with God. Many people do not even believe in the existence of God, and many who do have doubts. Who else taught that you can dance with God and have a conjugal relationship with Him? Who taught that you can become a cow and rub your body against Krishna's body? Generally, those who have faith in the existence of God have no idea of the varieties of relationship we can have with Him. Reference 602. Purna Pragya Das Garg Muni's
No,
Gargmani.
Gandamani.
Gargmani, page संख्या 266 to 67. Concomitant to and integral with the transcendental personalism, the Srila Prabhupada taught were concepts with practical ramifications, such as surrender to the Guru and the appearance of God within matter, which underlie the concept of prasada as spiritual food and deity worship as distinguished from idol worship. His delineation of the religious path of karma, the fruitive approach, and the jnana, the intellectual approach, subsuming yoga, the mystical approach, as stepping stones towards the ultimate goal of bhakti, the devotional approach, can have tremendous ramifications in the analysis and development of all theistic traditions. Reference 603 as outlined by Ravindra Swarup Das in Religion and Religions, ICJ. First
ISKCON Communications Journal.
Acha, ISKCON Communication Journal, 1st January 1993. Srila Prabhupada made these significant contribution to the spiritual understanding of contemporary humankind, primarily and consciously, by composing elaborate commentaries on scriptures, seminals to the Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, Mangala Bhakti Mataji, can you please read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Prabhu.
Please, Mataji, slowly and clearly. You are reading from the book. You have the book.
I have book, but now I am reading from the presentation only, Prabhuji.
Okay, no problem. It's fine. You have the book, right? Yes, Mataji. Okay.
His significance and success as a commentator. As Tamala Krishna Goswami noted, Srila Prabhupada's purports within his books mark his most distinct Theological contribution. Reference 604. Tamala Krishna Goswami, A Living Theology of Krishna Bhakti, page 116. Tamala Krishna Goswami further identified a major characteristic of those purports. Though such teachings are clearly within the Gaudiya tradition, Bhaktivedanta Swami's commentaries had an unmistakable missionary agenda. Reference 605. Tamala Krishna Goswami, A Hare Krishna at Southern Methodist University, page 252-253. Srila Prabhupada's task in faithfully presenting the Vedic knowledge was by no means easy or straightforward. Bhaktivedanta Swami decoded the dense Sanskrit texts, serving as a medium between their ancient authors and his modern Westerner readership. He had to speak the language of a people separated by millennia from the scripture's original recipients, without compromising the fidelity of the tradition. Reference 606. Tamala Krishna Goswami, A Hare Krishna at Southern Methodist University, page 252. One scholar thus summarized the significance and uniqueness of Srila Prabhupada's commentaries by paraphrasing the words of and repeatedly referring to the earlier Gaudiya Vaishnava writers in his books and lectures. He popularized these authors, perhaps for the first time, among a large English-speaking audience outside India. While these earlier commentators in their writing remained strictly within the boundaries of scriptural context, often limiting their notes to clarifications of syntax, grammar, and word meanings, with occasional quotes from the other scriptures, Bhaktivedanta Swami added his own urgent and personal message. The contemporary world economy, politics, social development, education, and racial and gender issues are not uncommon topics in his commentaries. And while the works of his predecessor commentators had always remained reading matter for an elite minority, he wanted his books to be translated into all the languages of the world and distributed profusely. Reference 607. Eckhart Lawrence, in the Hare Krishna movement, The Post-Charismatic Fate of a Religious Transplant, page 112. Going into some detail, Professor Hopkins insightfully and eloquently commented on the Bhaktivedanta purports, as Srila Prabhupada termed his commentaries. As far as his scholastic and literary work is concerned, the first point that should be made is that he has made certain important texts of the Indian devotional tradition accessible to the Western world that some simply we are not very accessible formerly. This is very significant. Bhaktivedanta Swami has made the major texts of the Vaishnava tradition accessible in a way that they never were before, and so he has made the tradition itself accessible to the West. He has been very loyal to the tradition, yet he has communicated the tradition in terms that are comprehensible to a contemporary Westerner. As far as fidelity to tradition is concerned, Bhaktivedanta Swami's commentaries are very, very traditional. His commentaries very closely follow those of the important Vaishnava commentators and the Gaudiya Vaishnava commentators in particular. His commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, is based largely on the Gita commentary of Baladeva Vidyabhushana, to whom he dedicates his work. His commentary on the Bhagavata Purana relies heavily upon several major commentaries such as those of Sridhara Swami, Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura, and Jiva Goswami, all of whom he quotes and cites frequently. His commentary on Chaitanya Charitamrita is based on the Bengali commentaries of Bhaktivinoda Thakura and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. This is something that needs to be stressed because unless you have the tradition, you won't realize the extent.
Unless you know the tradition.
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji. This is something that needs to be stressed.
You can read slowly so that you can
Yeah, okay, Prabhuji. Because unless you know the tradition, you won't realize the extent to which he is representing it. What you are getting in Bhaktivedanta Swami's commentaries is a lot more than what appears. You are gaining access to the whole classic tradition of Vaishnava scriptural commentary. It's clear that Bhaktivedanta Swami is not commenting on these texts off the top of his head. He is very strongly rooted in the Vaishnava tradition. On the other hand, in the tradition of great commentaries, he takes the tradition one step further in application. When you are writing a commentary, of course, you don't just start off and do your own thing. You follow the tradition and you bring the text into the present, but you don't really give a new interpretation to it. There are commentaries which may attempt, and I suppose every commentary in some sense always attempts a new interpretation, subtly or not. But the main purpose of the commentary is not to give a new interpretation, but to give a new application of the teaching so that you have the same teaching applied to a new audience, an audience that may not have access to the original or earlier commentaries. It's putting the teaching into a new social, intellectual, and linguistic context so that it becomes as accessible now as the previous commentaries were in their time. A good commentary brings the text into the present. It's classically been the purpose of commentaries to take the text and to give it meaning in terms of people's lives so that they are not just dealing with mere individual intellectual statements. Writing a commentary is not a merely intellectual or academic exercise. It has a practical goal to engage people with a living spiritual tradition. What is significant is that his commentaries are the first that have been written specifically for the comprehension of the Westerners and to others not familiar with the total Indian culture and theological context. If you try to read the commentaries of Jiva Goswami or Sanatana Goswami or any of the other great teachers, you find that you have to know quite a bit in order to read them with understanding. They contain a good deal of technical terminology and they were written with the assumption that the reader was familiar with traditional Indian philosophy, culture, and aesthetics. Anyone who doesn't come out of that particular cultural background is going to miss at least half of what's being said. Bhaktivedanta Swami has managed successfully to bridge an enormous cultural gap and to give practical application to teachings that were originally designed for people in a very different cultural setting. That's not easy to do by any means. I think he's been very successful. The very existence of a genuine Vaishnava movement in the West is compelling evidence of his success as a commentator. Reference 608. Dr. Thomas Hopkins in Stephen J. Gelberg edition Hare Krishna, page 133-34. An Indian Saint in America, BTG, Back to Godhead magazine, 18.10, October 18, 1983. George Harrison, a grateful beneficiary and promoter of Srila Prabhupada's literary contributions, put it in his own down to earth way. One of the greatest things I noticed about Prabhupada was the way he would be talking to you in English, and then all of a sudden he would say it to you in Sanskrit and then translate it back into English. It was clear that he really knew it. His,
Knew
his
it well. Mataji, it was clear that he really knew it well.
oh, sorry, Prabhuji. It was clear that he really knew it well. His contribution has obviously been enormous from the literary point of view because he's brought the Supreme Person Krishna more into focus. A lot of scholars and writers know the Gita, but only on an intellectual level. Even when they write, Krishna said, they don't do it with the bhakti or love required. Reference 609, George Harrison in Chant and Be Happy.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you, Mataji. Hmm. And Sai Karthik, you can read?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yeah. You have the book now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You can read from book or screen, whatever it is possible.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'll read from book.
Yes, bro. Continue.
Differentiated from cheaters. Although Srila Prabhupada might have seemed like just another amid the influx of gurus in America in the 1960s and 70s, he insisted on the fact that we are different from all bogus groups. Reference 69 in the book, letter 29, October 1976. And did not like to be featured in articles that depicted various gurus. Reference 70 in the book, Brahmananda Dasa, SPL interview. Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada Leela interview.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit interview. Within his purports, he warned about such questionable characters. There is a type of spiritual master and discipline much advertised.
Disciple.
Sorry, Prabhuji. There is a type of spiritual master and disciple much advertised in this age of Kali. It is said that the master injects spiritual force into the disciple by an electric current generated by the master, and the disciple begins to feel the shock. He becomes unconscious, and the master weeps for his exhausting his store of so called spiritual assets. Such bogus advertisement is going on in this age, and the poor common man is becoming the victim of such advertisement. We do not find such folk tales in the dealings of Shukadev Goswami and his great disciple Maharaj Parikshit. The sage recited Srimad Bhagavatam in devotion, and the great king heard him properly. The king did not feel any shock of electrical current from the master, nor did he become unconscious while receiving knowledge from the master. One should not, therefore, become a victim of these unauthorized advertisements made by some bogus representative of Vedic knowledge. Reference 71 in the book, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.12.3 purport. Cheaters are always there to manufacture their own way of spiritual realization. To get some material benefit, the conditioned soul approaches these pseudo sannyasis and yogis for cheap blessings, but he does not receive any benefit from them, either spiritual or material. In this age, there are many cheaters who show some jugglery and magic. They even create gold to amaze their followers, and their followers accept them as God. This type of cheating is very prominent in Kali Yuga. One should approach a guru who can extinguish the blazing fire of this material world, the struggle for existence. People want to be cheated, and therefore they go to yogis and swamis who play tricks. But tricks do not mitigate the miseries of material life. A bona fide guru does not manufacture gold or juggle worlds. Reference 72 in the book, Srimad Bhagavatam 5.14.13, purport. Materialistic persons who are not inclined to give up their sinful activities like illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating sometimes want to become our disciples. But unlike professional spiritual masters who accept disciples regardless of their condition, Vaishnavas do not accept such cheap disciples. Reference 73 in the book, Chaitanya Charitamrit 1.12.50, purport. Several of the gurus contemporaneously active in the West might have seemed more successful than Srila Prabhupada in recruiting followers. However, as two of Srila Prabhupada's leading disciples noted in his presence, actually, except for your divine grace, no other leader has any real disciples because all their followers have their own ideas which they consider more than their master. These other gurus may say that they have disciples, but their disciples are all independent. Reference 74 in the book, Conversation, 15th April 1977.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
These popular gurus were simply frauds who gave nothing of substance and became rich at the cost of their disciples. They were self promoting, naming their missions after themselves, and getting their followers to adulate them. Many cheap gurus and cheap disciples, without any substantial knowledge, manufacturing new sampradayas, with service activities stopped and all spiritual progress choked up. Reference 75 in the book, Hayagriva Dasa, Stay High Forever, back to
No, it choked up because it is showing letter dated 21st August.
75. Yes, Prabhuji, that's correct. Letter 21st August 1968.
Then you have to read as I agree with this.
Yes, Prabhuji. As Hayagriva Dasa, one of Srila Prabhupada's first disciples, boldly declared in an early Back to Godhead magazine, there are many Swamis who come to America with a familiar storehouse of Oriental claptrap. They woo rich women and take many money as favors or charge for initiation. Swami Bhaktivedanta simply delivers the goods. Reference 76 in the book, Hayagriva Dasa, Stay High Forever, Back to Godhead magazine, number 26, 1969. America's current interest in spirituality left.
No. Another of the first disciples.
Yes, sir. Another of the first disciples, Mukunda Goswami, expressed his gratefulness in finding a guru who did not cheat him. America's current interest in spirituality left people wide open to be exploited by those offering some flavor of Eastern culture with a personal motive attached, be that fame, power, or wealth. I knew from my own observation of our Swami that he was not after any of these things. He was driven by a desire to fulfill the wishes of his spiritual master. And I felt immensely grateful to have found him in the great mystical melting pot that was America's alternative culture. Reference 77 in the book, Mukunda Goswami, Miracle on 2nd Avenue, chapter 19. A book about spiritual movements in America demarcated the outstanding difference between the Hare Krishna movement and others. Srila Prabhupada claims to be a servant and the others claim to be God. Upon being informed of this, Srila Prabhupada responded, "Therefore, I am unique. I am not among the rascals." Reference 78 in the book, Conversation, 15th December 1973. Unlike such rascals, Srila Prabhupada wanted only to present Krishna and Krishna's teachings. Throughout the whole history of these 100 years of Swamis going to the Western countries, they could not turn even a single soul to understand Krishna. This is a fact. It is not that I am very proud. No, the truth must be spoken. Why could they not do so? The fact was that
The defect.
the defect was that they did not say what Krishna said directly. They said their own words. They manufactured their own philosophy. Reference 79 in the book. Lecture 11th August 1974. Srila Prabhupada's message of spiritual personalism distinguished him from so many corrupt preachers. In the past, India sent so many Swamis who taught corrupt philosophies, preaching, I am God, you are God, everybody is God, dog is God, or all is one, all is void. Do whatever you want and just transcend. Such philosophies do not satisfy the spirit soul. But now the West has received the real source of transcendental knowledge and a respectable representative of Indian spiritual culture, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He has given to the West what no other yogi has, the spiritual bliss of personalism, Krishna Prema. Reference 80 in the book, Giriraj Das, Krishna Returns to India, Back to Godhead, magazine number 43, 1971. As did
Actually, that hashtag 43 is that it's called article number 43.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
As did other Swamis of that era, Srila Prabhupada spoke of God, peace, love, beauty, and compassion. But unlike others, Srila Prabhupada did not speak of them in a nebulous, open ended manner, subject to hearers' own definition. Rather, Srila Prabhupada exactingly explained such concepts according to the teachings of Shastra and the Acharyas, thus dissipating the haze of ambiguity that was identified with Eastern mysticism. Reference: See Miracles and Mysticism, page 306. Other gurus were prone to flatter their listeners in order to ingratiate them and to adjust themselves to the expectations of their clientele. However, Prabhupada's charisma most definitely was not based on telling the audience that what they wanted to hear. He did not fit the Americans' preconceived notions of what an Indian guru should be like, being constantly absorbed in mystical states. For instance, reference 81 in the book, Kimo Ketola, an Indian guru and his Western disciples, page 115. As Dhanurdhar Swami importantly noted, although so many young ladies took shelter at your feet, no one ever saw you deal inappropriately, even subtly, with the opposite sex. In contrast, so many other Eastern gurus that came to West, even those with high yogic accomplishments, fell prey to sex desire. That no one ever saw in you what seemed to plague everyone else to one degree or another showed us the glory of your clean heart. Reference 82 in the book, Dhanurdhar Swami, Vyas Puja Offering 2021. Unlike certain charismatic gurus, reference 83 in the book, Conversation 31st October 1976. Srila Prabhupada remained like a lotus leaf within water, yet untouched by it. Reference 84 in the book. See Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 10th verse text. He was always fixed in Krishna consciousness and never worldly minded, even after achieving extraordinary success. While Bhaktivedanta Swami has been recognized for his ability to harness the power of organization, capital, and followers to spread his spiritual mission around the world in the span of a few short years, he never succumbed to their beguiling influence, as did what he dubbed charismatic gurus. By all accounts, the Swami was never attached to the comfort, power, prestige, or position that accompanied his success. Thus, while keenly aware of the drawbacks of institutions, he was able to employ these organizational means without compromising his principles or being adversely affected. Reference 85 in the book. Erwin H. Collins, in the Hare Krishna movement, The Post Charismatic Fate of a Religious Transplant, page 217. In short, Srila Prabhupada was as substantial as others were superficial. No wonder then that there are more books written by loving disciples about Srila Prabhupada than written by or about all the 1960s self-styled yogis combined. Businessmen in the dress of yogis who proved to be mere glowworms before the moon who was Srila Prabhupada. Reference, Prabhuji, there are two references here.
Yeah. First reference.
Reference 86 in the book. This sentence is adapted from Patita Uddharana Das, Vyas Puja Offering 2015. And the other reference is see also Distinct Movement, Volume 2, 114.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare
I
Krishna.
will look at some of the devotee story. Thank you very much. Covered nicely. राधा प्रेम प्रीति माता जी. I don't know if it's there. No, I don't know. Okay. Mangala Bhakti Mataji, did you read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, you read it. Okay.
Prabhuji.
Radha Prem Preeti Mataji, is that not able to hear me? Hare Krishna. Okay. No problem.
Prabhuji, shall I continue?
1 second. Obviously, how much is it? Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Who is speaking?
Chandrarekha Devidas.
Yeah, Grace Mataji, you can read. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Uncompromising. One man was praising Prabhupada, saying, "Oh, Swamiji, you have so many wonderful qualities." Prabhupada said, "No, no, no, no. I only have one wonderful quality. I do not change things." Reference 630. Bhargavadasa, Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit interview. Although others might have sometimes quoted from Shastra, only Srila Prabhupada emphasized the primacy of Shastra in his teachings and consistently delivered the message to the real Vedic culture in its original transcendental form without any significant adaptations. People say that I have done a miracle. Maybe, at least, it is the first time in history that Vedic culture in its true form is being distributed all over the world. We have got many appreciations by the learned scholarly circle, by big professors of the world. They are accepting that this is the fact that India's traditional spiritual culture. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes? Sorry?
No, sometimes it is. Sometimes there is a pause. You're not able to hear. I don't know whether it is do something or anything. Yeah, you can continue to read when it comes.
Okay, Prabhuji,
I
thank
don't
you.
know.
One professor in France has plainly said that even Aurobindo or Dr. Radhakrishnan presented this Vedic culture in a modernized way. not in its original traditional form. That is a fact. We don't make any compromise. Reference 631. Lecture 7th April 1976. As Hari Shauri Dasa observed, others may or may not appreciate, but he cannot compromise the truth for anyone. His only interest is in serving Krishna and Krishna's mission, nothing else. By Krishna's grace, he is enjoying worldwide success. He has neither the need nor desire to have his name associated with anything that deviates from the strict principles of Bhagavata Dharma. Reference 632. Hari Shauridasa, uh, TD, what is TD
Transcendental
Prabhuji?
Dairy. Transcendental Dairy.
Transcendental Dairy, Volume 1, Chapter 9. Mukunda Goswami similarly noted, Srila Prabhupada always trained us to stick to our principles. He said that the worst thing we could ever do would be to make some sort of compromise or to dilute the philosophy for the sake of cheap popularity. Although many Swamis and yogis had come from India to the West, Srila
No, no,
Prabhupada was the
Okay. Sorry.
Srila Prabhupada was the only one with the purity and devotion to establish India's ancient Krishna conscious philosophy around the world on its own terms, not watered down, but as it is. Reference 633. Mukunda Goswami in Chant and Be Happy. Apart from the philosophic teachings of Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada also never compromised its traditional praxis, knowing it to be inseparable from the teachings. He explained this essential point in response to a disciple's query. Atreya Rishi, when you first came, Srila Prabhupada, a lot of people probably presented your arguments such as if you call the movement God consciousness, you will be more successful. If you do not wear tilak and do not shave your head and do not wear robes and do not go on Sankirtana, you will be more successful. And people still tell us things like this, that you tell us the philosophy. We like the philosophy, but why do you go on Sankirtana? So, what were some of the arguments you presented to these type of people? Srila Prabhupada, this is the same argument.
One second. I want to just tell something. This particular argument, whatever is there, which Prabhupada, with Atreya Rishi Prabhu told, this is what is happening now. Maharaj is dealing with this whole thing about dress and tilak and what and all, the same thing. I don't know whether you're hearing Maharaj lectures, then you can follow it. Very clearly, Maharaj is very much against all these things. So this is what is going on now. This Maharaj is against these all things. Now it has come again. Now we are reading it in proper. So Prabhupada is defeating that. Read Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. This is the same argument, Ardha Kukkuti Nyaya, reference 634. See Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 5th chapter, 176 text. You cut the mouth of the chicken because it eats. It is expensive, and keep the backside because it lays an egg. An intelligent man said, I am getting every day one egg. The backside is very good. But the front is expensive, it eats. Cut it. He does not know he is such a fool that if I cut the head, then the egg giving business will also stop. Similarly, if you accept this philosophy of Krishna consciousness, then you must accept this practice also. If you don't accept Kirtana, then it will prove that you don't accept the philosophy. Atreya Rishi, yes, that's the difference between your divine grace and all these others. Bhogis, sense enjoyers, they make it according to the taste of the people. They change. That's why this movement is so solid, no compromise. Srila Prabhupada, why compromise? My Guru Maharaj never made any compromise. Atreya Rishi, compromise means you have some material attachment. Srila Prabhupada, yes, compromise means you don't want the real business, but you want some money by cheating and by bluffing. Reference 635. Conversation 29th June 1972.
Sorry.
A prime example of Srila Prabhupada's unwillingness to compromise was on the question of drug usage. Perhaps the most testing part of the period in the lower East India of Manhattan for A.C. Bhaktivedanta, who refused to touch even tea or coffee as they were stimulants, was dealing with people who were addicted to the idea that the use of drugs was a window to an alternative reality. This debate on drugs would reappear from time to time throughout the remaining period of A.C. Bhaktivedanta's life and work because it was so fundamental to so many of the people among whom he worked, from the most influential artists to poverty stricken hippies. On this, the use of drugs to alter consciousness, he was challenged many times, but his answer never varied. Any experience fueled by drugs could never be a true spiritual experience. Reference 636. This paragraph is from Hindol Sen Gupta. Sing, dance, and pray. PP 121 and 22 and 124 to 25.
Okay,
Artist.
Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. It's time. It's time. Time is up. So we will stop here. If anybody wants to ask question, everybody wants to leave, they can leave. Anyone who wants to ask any question, you can ask question. Otherwise, we will stop here and meet tomorrow with a new chapter, chapter 6, Lord Chaitanya's mission and Srila Prabhupada's role within it. Anybody has any question to ask? Actually, one thing I realized, I was thinking, like I was again and again thinking in the book that so many things, these are actually heard from Maharaj, many lectures, what everybody feels. So in so many lectures, Maharaj spoke about all these topics again and again and again. If one is frequently hearing Maharaj lectures, all these things Maharaj was have spoken. As if Maharaj is just putting his whatever he's speaking in the book form. I don't know, I felt like that. It was like a refreshing for me that, oh, all those that lecture Maharaj spoke, in that lecture Maharaj spoke, in this lecture Maharaj spoke. Like that it, and I was just thinking. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to share something, say something?
Prabhuji, like you mentioned, Maharaj is against this fact of not wearing tilak, not wearing robes. In a recent series of lectures, Maharaj was speaking about His Holiness Hridayanand Das Goswami, where he's having Krishna West as the type of preaching. In all those lectures also Maharaj mentioned the same thing, that Krishna West is focusing on not wearing tilak, not wearing dhoti kurta, not having traditional Vedic prasadam. Maharaj is
Mm.
against that, and he mentioned how Srila Prabhupada worked really hard to establish Vedic culture of wearing dhoti kurta, wearing tilak, wearing kanti mala, and having Vedic food as prasadam.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Somehow it's a blessing for devotees to have such an exalted person as as His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, who actually, to understand Vedic culture, it's not through books. It's not just one becomes a scholar just by books. One has to live in India, live in Vedic culture, uh, live the life of a cultured person, move with various sampradaya people, see them, understand them. Then only one can understand. The problem with many of the, even with the modern educated preachers, that is the problem. Why they don't want to present Krishna consciousness, just like you can see. I mean, I don't want to give a lecture of here, but what I have seen is that many devotees, they are very much afraid about presenting Krishna consciousness as it is, because they think that people will run away, people will think that, oh, this is too much. So that's why they add bhakti to everything. Your job is for Krishna, your salary is for Krishna, everything is for Krishna. And then, okay, you do your job very perfectly, you submit your projects very on time, so that you get so much time to practice Krishna consciousness. Like that, they try to preach, because they are afraid that if we preach as it is, if you tell that shlokas in such a way, that people will run away. They will think like that every time. Since the time I joined till now, that has not changed, in at least in some of the preachers. Very clear there. They try to always be in that mode. Although so many new people come to their this one, they still maintain like that. It is very difficult. So some devotees, they cannot understand that Prabhupada was uncompromisingly this one. We may not yell or shout at them or scream at them, but what we have to present, we have to present. That is, and it is what we are going to practice, we are going to practice. And we can see here in one passage, Maharaj is writing about the Mayavadis. In what way Prabhupada is very much different from others. But in mission in ISKCON, some of the devotees nowadays, it has come into the picture that all other gurus also are good. There are many gurus. This has entered like anything. Actually, one who reads this, they can contrast to the present situation of ISKCON in pockets here and there. What is going on? It's not. It's the only hope is Maharaj book. This at least Maharaj said that in the introduction to the modern mission. At least whatever I'm writing, I don't know whether somebody can read this whole big book, but it is documented for future. So in that way, it is a documentation.
yes, Prabhupada.
And one more thing Maharaj said about his writings is that now Maharaj is there to, uh, uh, what is that? Maharaj is segregating whatever in notes, everything Maharaj has written. Maharaj is having more than 2000 or 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 books of notes. So those all notes, Maharaj said, after I leave, they should be just printed and given to distributed to the devotees.
Hari, Hari.
I don't know whether somebody this is somewhat important one. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. We can speak so much, but for the time being, we'll end up here.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your participation and enthusiasm, enthusiastically participating and reading and understanding. Hope we will complete it as soon as possible. If we don't complete also, no problem. We will go on reading.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जगतगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
समय
जय
भक्ति करता महाराज की जय। द मोटिवेशन ऑफ
जय
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.